The reason why we want to use Google Chrome is because Google Chrome seems to have afforded us the least amount of issues in terms of opening up your classroom. We've had some concerns with some of the other browsers, so I highly recommend that you use Google Chrome when attempting to start your Google Classroom with the Department of Education. Once you've opened up your Google Chrome, hopefully you are on the Google homepage. If not, then please go to the Google homepage by typing in google.com and it should take you here. Then here in the top right, you should have access to see who is the person that you are, or the account that you are logged into. So I am already logged in. I'm just going to verify, and I see that I have myself logged in, and I am logged in with my GDOE account. I do have a personal account here, but I want to be sure that I'm logged in to my DOE account because that will ensure that I am able to set up my Google Classroom properly and that I will be able to invite the appropriate students into my class. Okay, so I'm already into the correct account. I'm gonna click that off. And up here, you'll have some options: Gmail, images, and these 9 dots, which is your Google Apps. I will often refer to these apps, or this section right here, as the waffle. Kind of looks like a waffle to me, so we are going to refer to this as the waffle during this tutorial. So I'm going to click on the waffle, and I'm going to look for Google Classroom or Classroom. And as you can see, it is right here. Yours might not be there. Yours might be, you might have to scroll down and look for it. You can even rearrange this so that it better suits your needs. But mine happens to be right here. So I'm going to click on that, Classroom. Now it should take you to your Google Classroom homepage. Now, yours might not look like this because if you're just starting it out, you won't have any classes. And that's okay. However, there should be a startup where it shows you where it's empty, but it shows you an arrow pointing up. Should be to this corner, this top right corner, which has a plus sign. We'll get into that, but let me talk about this homepage right here. So right here, what you're looking at are my classrooms. These are classes that I am a teacher in, where I am the teacher, and also classrooms where I am the student. How can I tell the difference? Well, the ones with these little arrows right here means that these are classrooms that I've created. And a classroom, such as this, where there is no arrow, I am actually a student. So there's a couple here where I am not the teacher and some where I am the teacher. Okay, so let's start with creating your Google Classroom. So the first thing we want to do is look for this top right corner where you see a plus sign. We're going to click on that plus sign, and then you'll see two options: join class or create a class. Obviously, if you're the teacher, you're going to be creating a class. You'll join a class if you have a class code where someone has invited you to join their class, and you input it and then you'll join their class as a student. However, for the purposes of this tutorial, we are going to be creating a class. So let's go create a class. I'm going to hover over it, I'm going to click on that, and there we go. Create a class. You'll have different options here where you see class name, which is required, section, subject, and room. Okay, these bottom three you do not have to fill out. That's completely up to you. However, in order to create your class, you will at least have to have a class name. So let me name this as Google Classroom Tutorial. There you go. And I can go back and I'll show you how to fill this information in later. Let's just at least get started. So I'm going to go down here. You see cancel and create. I am going to create. So I'm going to click on that. And it should be generating my classroom. It's a very simple process. It's creating. And we will see it coming up pretty soon. Okay, here we go. Now it's created me my classroom. All right, so now I am in this specific classroom. Okay, it's called Google Classroom Tutorial. Now I will go through all of these right around the classroom. We'll navigate through it and introduce you to all the different parts of the platform, and we will go from there. So let's start from the left. So what we have up here in the top left corner is what these three horizontal lines, and I like to refer to this as the hamburger. So I'm going to click on the hamburger, and what that will do is give you several options. So classes, this will send you back to that home page that I was at. Calendar, this is where assignments are. If you've posted assignments that have due dates, you'll find this in your calendar if you want to go over them. You can review, and as you can see here, this tab says teaching, and these are all the classes that I've created that are active. These are active classes. I can scroll down some more, and it says enrolled. And these are classrooms where I am enrolled as a student. So there's a couple here. And then you have archive classes, and these are classes that I've had from previous years, but I didn't want it to clutter my homepage because these are classes that are no longer my classes. So I archive them. It saves a record of it, which allows you to either reactivate them or you can copy them in case you want to use the assignments in your current year, and things like that. So you can always have access to classes even though they're done, and you can review it. And then down here you'll see settings. We'll go over this because in this page there are two settings. You see one here inside the hamburger, and then there's one over here at the top right next to the waffle. Please do not get them mixed up as they are different. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this real quick. Then you have the Google Classroom. You see tutorial, and as you see, as I hover over it, I can actually click it. But all this will do is send you back to this specific page, the first page of your classroom. Okay. Then over here are your tabs, your working tabs. You got the stream, which is also the page we're on. So actually, if you want to head back to this main page, you have two options. You could either click on Google Classroom Tutorial, or you could click on Stream. The next tab is Classwork. And here in Classwork, as I click it, this is where the bulk of your work is going to take place, because this is where you're going to create assignments. And we will go over the details of how to create your assignments, and that will be done by Miss Tina Cade. So that will be on another portion of the playlist. Here we're just going over the platform, how to start your class, and the stream. But most of your work will be done here. The next tab up here in the top is People. In People, you have teachers and you have students. And this is where you will invite students, and you can also invite teachers. If you want to have teachers or other teachers, if you're perhaps team teaching, you can use this tab to invite them. However, keep in mind that if you invite teachers to your classroom and they join in, that they will have full access to the classroom. They basically have the same power you do within this class. They can add students, they can delete students, they can add classwork. Anything that you can do in your classroom, they can do as well. So please keep that in mind when you're inviting teachers to your classroom as teachers. Students, of course, don't have the administrative power to make changes to the classroom. So you can do that. Sometimes we invite teachers as students, like colleagues, in case we want to have them review some of the work we're giving, so they can, or if you want to have a student perspective and you invite them into your class, then you can view it from there. Because unfortunately, well, it's actually fortunate, you cannot invite people who do not have a GDOE account into your classroom. Okay, that's for safety issues. We don't want just anybody joining in your class. But it also means that you can't invite yourself or like your personal Gmail account into your class as a student in case you want to review it. So what we've done is we would often invite a partner, a colleague, and you ask them, hey, would you mind joining my class as a student so that I can have you review, or you can log in and I can review the work that I've given so that I can make sure that the students see what I want them to see. And the last tab here is grades. And here is where, if you have assigned classwork and you've graded it, it'll post it all here by alphabetical order. I don't have anyone here because I haven't enrolled any students yet. As you can see here, there are people. I don't have any students. I'm the only one in this class. Also here, once you've invited students, it'll also give you the option, once a student has been accepted, to invite their parents or guardian to receive reports. And I will get into that. It doesn't mean that if you invite them that they will have access to your class. They do not have access to your class. And no, they do not have to have a DOE account or a Gmail account. You can invite them because all it does is just sends them information on some of the work that's due. So, but in order for you to invite students or teachers into your class, as students or as teachers, they will need to have a GDOE account. And students have accounts that are created for them by the department. And you can probably request for that from your administration or from your computer operator at your school. However, keep in mind that if it is a new student, FSAIS will need to make sure that they are enrolled. So if it's taking a little while, you may need to contact them to see if they can get that going. Okay, so we're going to go back to the stream or to the home page for this classroom. So I can click on either stream or Google Classroom Tutorial. I'll just click here. And it sends me back here. Now, here on the top right, we have the settings. This is the main settings that I use, because this is the one that kind of controls a lot of the features here in the classroom. So I'm going to click on this and go through it with you. So here in the settings, you see what we have is, in the top left, I can close this out. And on the top right is save. If I make any changes, this button on the top right will turn green, and you would need to click on it to save whatever changes you've made. I haven't made any changes yet, so it's not active yet, this button. For example, if I put down subject is Google Classroom. As you can see, I apologize, it's blue. Depending on the computer, sometimes I've seen it green. I think it depends on whatever format the classroom is set up, because it sets it up for you randomly, and then you can make changes. So I've made a change. I can see save. If I click on that save button, it'll save it, but it will also send me back to the home page. So if I'm not done, I would need to go back to this cogwheel, open it up. I haven't made any changes, so once again, the save button is inactive. Okay, so this is the class details. If you want to go back and fill it in, it's in this settings. If I scroll down, what you're going to see is the general settings. This is a very important section. So the Google Classroom automatically generates a class code, and students can either join by you sending them an email, which is what we recommend, so that students will be encouraged to learn how to utilize email. But you could also invite them by giving them the class code, and if they were to click on that plus button that I first showed you in the beginning of the tutorial and click join class, and they input this information right here, then they will automatically be added to your class. However, if anyone gets a hold of that has a GDOE, they can join your class. So for me, for now, I am going to, and you can display it, you can copy it, reset, you can disable it. I'm going to disable it for now. So now my class code has been disabled. If I scroll, you see the stream. This is where I'll be given options. I'll get back to this when I get back to stream. Classwork on the stream, show deleted items, guardian summaries, and this is where I was telling you about what, if you invite parents or guardians, that they will receive a summary of the work that their child has to do, work that's coming up. Scroll further, you'll see that we have Meet, which is Google's platform for having a group meeting face-to-face. So you can generate a Meet link for your students, so that if you want to meet with your students virtually, then you can generate this link and make it active or inactive. Right now, I haven't generated the Meet link. And then, of course, down here, after you've generated it, you'll be allowed to make it visible to students where they can click on it and join in on Google Meets, or you can close it so that it's not visible and they can't get into the Meet link unless you're ready. You scroll further down, you see grading, and this is where you can decide if you want to have an overall grade, perhaps you want to go by total points, or weighted by category. Here, if you toggle this on, if you set it up, you can turn it on or off to show overall grade to students. And then down here, you can add a grade category. So this is your settings. I spend most of my time here if I need to access my settings. I'm going to close this. I can head back out. Now keep in mind what I said. To get to those settings, it's up here in the top right. It is very different from here in the Hamburger, the settings that are down here. If I click on these settings, you'll see that it's different. This is where you can receive email notifications, comments on your posts. So you can make changes here as well, but it is very different. So please be mindful of that in case you're struggling with trying to find where to go to if you want to view your class information and things like that. It's on the other settings. So unfortunately from here, in order for me to get back to that home page, I have to click back on the Hamburger and I can go back to my classroom that I was at. So that's Google Classroom Tutorial. So I'm going to click on that. It sends me back here. Here we have what is referred to as the banner. Now here on the banner, this is the layout that it defaulted to. It gives you the information of Google Classroom Tutorials, class name. It'll have the class code posted here, but mine is disabled. And the Meet link if I generate it. And this is the Meet symbol, Google Meet symbol, right here. And then over here, you can select your theme. If you don't like this theme, you can select the theme. Or you can upload your own photo. So let's go click on this real quick on the select the theme. And you can see that there are different options for you here. This is general, English and history. Maybe if you're setting up an English class or social studies class, you would like to use one of these backgrounds for your banner. You can use that. Maybe perhaps it's a math or science class. You have arts. There's a little bit extra there. Sports. Okay. Several options here. And you have other. Okay. So we'll go back here to general. Let me just change mine so you can kind of see that. Okay, so I'll pick this one. It's gray. Okay, so I'm going to click on it. It has a check mark right here. I'm going to head down here to select class theme, or I can cancel it if I don't like it. But I'm going to select class theme. And then you can see over here, it's loaded. It was saying changing over here, loaded it. But you do have the option to upload your own photo. So I am going to upload a photo. So click on that. As you can see, I would have to select a photo from my computer. So I would need to have it saved already. I do have one saved. I have it saved on my desktop. So I will click on that. Make sure that I'm set to desktop. I have it right here. Virtual backgrounds. I created a folder. I have different ones. I'm going to do my active banner that I created. So that would be this one. I'm going to click on open. It's uploading it. This might take a little bit longer than the other one, the other theme I uploaded, because it's uploading a picture. And there you go. Now you see this is a Bitmoji banner I created. And when you upload this, you'll see there's this box, kind of white it out. But I want the whole thing, so I'm going to go to the corners, and I'm going to stretch it out as far as I can. Let's see if I can go to the end. There you go. Now I'm going to go here, the other corners. I can stretch that out. Okay, looks good. And then I'm going to down here and put select class theme. And I can click on that. And then you'll see here in the bottom right, it's changing. See, it takes a little bit longer because it's one that I've uploaded. And there you go. Now I have my own personal banner. Now, unfortunately, because a way for Google Classroom to ensure that the information can be visible, the banner becomes a bit grayed out. So there's no, unfortunately right now, as far as I know, there is nothing that you can do about that. It will come out this kind of a gray tint. However, all the information to make changes and the information here is very visible to the students. It doesn't interfere with the background does not interfere with this information. Okay, now in this banner, I'm going to show you that there's a meet link. So I'm going to activate that. I'm going to generate a meet link. So I can click on this. So you can either click on it, because it doesn't have a meet link, or you can even do it from the settings here in the top right. But since I've already clicked on it, I am going to generate meet link. So I'm going to click on that, and it's generating it. Now it has the meet link, and it's visible to students. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Now, be mindful that basically the students see this as this same information that's here. However, the difference would be when you disable this, when you disable the meet link, it'll disappear from their banner. It won't disappear from yours, but it'll disappear from theirs. So please be mindful that you definitely want to make sure that this is inactive if you're not using it. Because if it's active like this, students who are enrolled in your class can actually click on it and go into your classroom. And you might not be there. You do not have to be there in order for other people who have this link to be in the classroom. So of course, please be mindful of that. If you have it active, we don't want situations where it causes some stress on parents or yourself, because students are joining in, meeting with each other without any adult supervision into your classroom, because ultimately you are responsible for what happens in your class. Even though it's an online class, it's still your class and you are responsible for it. So I don't want this active. I know it's active because it has the Google Meet logo, which is right here. As I zoom in, it looks like this. It's like a video camera with the word bubble. So I want to make sure that I change that. So I'm going to go up here to the top right, click on this cogwheel, which is the settings, and I'm going to scroll to where I see Meet, which is right here. And here it says visible to students. So I'm going to click on that. And as you can see, because I changed the theme, it also changed the color. Earlier this was blue, now it's green. So Google Classroom really tries to create a room that's customized and pretty and things like that. So it changed that. So yours might not be the same colors, but that's okay. So I turn that off, and I got to make sure I click on save. Saving. And now, as you can see, if I zoom in on my banner, that Google Meet logo is gone. And now you see an eye with the diagonal line through it, which means that the link is inactive. Okay. So that's the banner. Now the last thing I'm going to go over is the stream, which is right here. All of this down here. Here on the stream, you can have it has a section here that says upcoming, no work due soon, because I haven't assigned anything yet. But if you do assign something, I do highly recommend that you input a due date, which in the next section it will be covered. And that way, it'll pop up here when it's going to be due, and it's just a reminder for students, which is amazing. Even for yourself, it's also a reminder for you. You see it and say, oh, that's right, I assigned this last week, or whenever you did, and I should be expecting students to start submitting them. Here, as you can see, my image is here, which means I am able to post. I can share information. I can send a message. I could just say, hello, welcome to my online classroom. Okay, type the message, and I have several options when I type my message. One, if I click up here, it says for, right? For, I click here to Google Class, I can actually send this to all the classes that I'm teaching in. I can send this to all of the streams of those classes. Maybe you have multiple classes. For example, if you're middle school or high school, you're teaching one subject and you want to send a message out, the same message to all of your classes, then of course you can just click on all the classes that you have that are active and that you want to send to. If you're in elementary and you only have this one classroom, then I doubt you'll even be sending it to any other classes. So I'm just going to leave it here for Google Classroom. I can also click here to all students. Now, unfortunately, because I don't have any students enrolled, it only says all students. But normally you would see this, all students, check marked, and a whole list of all the students in your class. And then if you uncheck it, if you check this and turn it off, unfortunately I don't have it, I can't turn it off. And then you can hand pick who you want the message to show up in their stream, and it won't show up to anyone else. So I'll just leave it at that. Down here, I could even add a link to either something in my Google Drive, a link to possibly a website, maybe a file, like you have a file on your desktop that's not in your Google Drive. You can click it, you can attach it here, or even a YouTube video. You can share a YouTube video and you can post it here. Okay, so, but please be mindful that if you post a YouTube video, please check the YouTube video, watch it from beginning to end, ensure that it is appropriate, because once again, as a reminder, you are responsible for your class. Here I can cancel it. If I don't like the message I'm sending out, I change my mind, I can cancel it. I can post it immediately and this will post and everyone in this class would see it. Or I even have more options. Here on this arrow pointing down, there's a drop box. If I click on that, I can post it, which is the same as the big button that said post. I can save it down here if perhaps I'm not complete with my message and I want to save it for later and get back to it and before I send it out. Or I can schedule it. And this is probably one of my favorite options. So I can click on schedule just to show you. And I can schedule when I want this message sent out. So I can send this out tomorrow. I can send it out basically I can even send it out today, but I would have to change the time as I've already passed this time. And what will happen is, if I click on schedule, it'll save it and it will post tomorrow. And so I have it here. It'll be here now as a saved announcement. So it hasn't been posted yet because I won't post till tomorrow. See, so right here, I can click on this arrow where it says saved announcements. Click on this arrow and I have the option to delete it. I can delete it because I changed my mind for whatever reason. I can do that and I can delete it. So there you go. So you can schedule it, you can post. Now here is a very important tip when you are on the stream. When you start your class, I personally highly recommend, but it's completely up to you, it is your class, is you go into the settings up here in the top right, click on that, scroll down to where you see the word stream, and it's here under general, you'll see stream. The default setting is students can post and comment. Be careful with this because that means any one of your students that is enrolled in your class can post essentially whatever they want. So it's up to you to decide if that's something you want them to have the ability to do. For me personally, I always disable this. So depending on the class, a lot of times I just opt to only teachers can post or comment. I do get scared that students are going to post, and I have seen this happen where students will start posting whatever they want and it starts to look like another social media page, right? So I don't want them just posting whatever they want because, like I said, you are still responsible for your class and I want to make sure that I check whatever is being posted. So the only way I can do that is to ensure the safety of my classroom is either I can only post. You can set it if you want students, they can only comment. The advantage of that is they can, if you post an assignment or they have a question pertaining to something that you posted, then they can comment on it. They won't be able to post anything new, but they can comment, and that's up to you if you feel that you want to add that. Or if you like, you can have them where they can post and comment. For me personally, I usually opt to have only teachers can post their comment, and then I will save that. And that is how you start your Google Classroom. This is the platform that's here, and hopefully you found this tutorial to be helpful. Thank you, and good luck this school year.